Japanese for 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, he had some stories. Okay. See if I can get a little closer there. It's always good to, purposes of sound, getting a little closer. Okay. All right. Okay, Jack, we're recording. I hope we're recording. If that little light's on, yep, we're recording.
Yeah, got the red light.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me tell you, keep that with your stuff. That says you were interviewed on this date. That's August 24th. You're on tape 35.
Tape 35. Okay.
And this tape is going to be kept in the Portsmouth Public Library,
Mm-hmm.
Portsmouth, Ohio.
Okay.
So 100 years from now, when your descendants find this, they can go down there and look at you.
Okay. Good there, look at me, right.
Look at you.
Okay, John. Okay.
Well, you told me your name, and it is Jackson Junior Murphy.
Right.
And you told me when you were born, which is February 23rd?
February 21st, 1923.
Okay, right. And we're being interviewed now at, what's your address here?
1249 Schwager Valley Road, Portsmouth, Ohio.
Okay. And this is your house, isn't it? That's
That's
exactly
right.
where we're...
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Where were you born, Jack?
Portsmouth, Ohio.
Okay. Where did you live when you were growing up?
I was lived practically all my life in a rural area of South County in Harrison Township.
Okay. Where was your first house when you were...
First house?
Uh-huh.
Gosh, I don't recall the first house. I think it was a house in Twin Valley. I
Up
think
in
that's
Twin
the first
Valley?
one. Yeah,
Okay.
after we left town.
Okay. What was your occupation then after you left the service?
I worked at the Williams Shoe Factory for 25 and a half years.
Okay. And did you retire from there?
Well, not really.
Or they went out of business?
They went out of business, and I went up to Waverly, Ohio, and got a job with the Parker Hannafin Company.
Okay.
And of course, that's where I was working when I retired. Although I didn't retire from there because really I'd been laid off, and when I got 62, I thought, well, I'd go ahead and apply for my Social Security and just retire.
You've also been a township trustee.
That's correct. I was a township trustee for 33 and a half years in Harrison Township.
Harrison Township.
Right.
You don't do that now, do you?
No, I give it up in 1997.
Okay. And how much education do you have, Jack?
High school. I graduated from Menford in 1943.
Okay. Are you, you're married?
Right.
Okay. What is your wife's name?
Opal.
Opal?
Opal, yeah.
Now, I kind of like to get a timeline here.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. What were your parents' names? Your father's name?
My father's name was Jack Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother's name was Eliza Peach.
Peach was her
Right.
maiden name.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now,
That was her maiden name.
okay. What was your father's parents' names?
Opal, come in here a minute.
Come here and help us with the history here.
I know. I can't.
Didn't know there'd be a test, did you?
Yeah.
Did she hear us?
Yeah, Opal.
Jacko, you graduated in 42, not 43.
Better correct that then. I went in the Army in 43.
That's right, that's right.
January.
January 43.
Every time you hear a mistake, run in here and tell us, will you?
Patty, you started Patty.
My
No,
grandfather's
What was his grandfather's name?
Henry Preston
Murphy?
Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry Preston Murphy. And my grandmother's name was
Mary Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth Murphy.
Mary Elizabeth Murphy. What was her maiden name?
Prince.
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 Can you go back any further than that? Great-grandparents?
Gosh, not much.
Is this written down anywhere?
No, no.
Rosemary could.
Yeah.
Who is?
That's my sister.
His
Rosemary.
sister has.
I know.
Does she have the tree and everything written down?
She has.
What's her name?
You mean my sister?
Uh-huh.
Rosemary Miller.
Rosemary Miller.
Yeah.
Now she has your family tree and
Yeah, she's anything about anything that would be pertaining to family tree, she would have it.
okay.
Back.
I
Back.
am.
All the
Two.
way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rosemary Miller. She lives out on 140.
Where on 140 down? I pass her house every day then.
Just
Twice.
just this side of the Union Church.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we
you
built-
know Kenneth Miller? Kenny?
I should know him.
He died here a while back. Now she lives out there where them two roads fork, and there's
Uh-huh.
a gas station there.
Uh-huh.
She lives right down a couple houses
On the
down.
left.
Yeah,
Okay.
On the
She lived down
right.
below there in a little area down.
yeah.
Okay.
On the right
I-
going out.
Had he been in the Philippines?
You mean her husband?
Uh-huh.
No, her husband wasn't in the service.
Okay, was not. Okay, there's a
He-
fella down there that I hear about.
You know, there's two Kenny Millers. What's Kenny's second name?
It's Harold Kenneth.
Harold.
And there's 3 or 4 Harold Kenneths out in there. So he always went with the name of Kenny.
Okay.
Harold.
But
Uh,
her name was Mary. Her name is Mary.
Rosemary.
I mean Rosemary.
Rosemary.
yeah.
4454, State Route 140.
Okay.
It's that yellow
I know
house.
my great grandfather on my grandmother's side, on Dad's mother. He was a doctor in the Confederate Army.
He was.
His name was Prince,
Uh-huh.
and his wife, she was an Indian.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Rosemary's probably got more details on that than I've got.
Okay, but that's written down. What are your parents' names?
I was an Allen.
Al-
Everett Allen.
Everett Allen was your
My
father's
dad.
name.
And Maud Jane Shear was my mother. I'm the 4th of 7 kids.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
got to do the work of all of them because I was in the middle. But Mom died in 1985
Uh-huh.
and Dad died in 1985
Okay.
and 91.
Your maiden name was.
Allen,
Allen.
A-L-L.
Are you from this area too? or-
I was I was born out in Madison Township
Mhm.
on when you go up 335 and turn on that Piketon Road, big old 2-story house, George McLaughlin house, was
Is that
where
right?
I was born.
Is the house still there?
House still there.
Okay.
But when I wasn't a year old, we moved to the Jake Seth farm out. It's on Allen Road now.
I see. Well, do you have any children?
Yeah, we have 3 children.
Okay, and what are their names?
Randall Glenn.
Uh-huh.
Now, Randy served 2 years in Vietnam.
He did.
2 years and he's over there 30 months.
Okay. All right.
And youngest boy, he didn't have to go, and we have a daughter.
Okay. Now, what does Randy do?
Randy's working up the A plant.
Okay. Does he have children?
Yeah, he's got 2. He's got 2 kids, a daughter and a son.
Do you know their names?
Yeah.
What are they, Mom?
Kenneth, Travis, and Randa Jane.
Okay. Randy.
Randa, R-A-N-D-A.
Okay.
That's the girl.
Randy. Okay. And now that means you are a grandfather.
Yeah.
Are you a great grandfather?
Yeah,
Anyway?
yeah.
Yes.
Does Randy's children have children?
No.
Okay. Now let's go to the next child. Who would that be?
Dwight.
Right.
Dwight.
Jackson.
Now he's married
Right.
and he has children.
2 boys.
What are their
Dwight Jackson II and Matthew Aaron.
names?
Now,
Okay. Do they have children?
Dwight II has 1 son that will be a year old in October, and his name is Christian Faith.
Christian Faith. That's a good name. Now, so your youngest child is a girl.
Right.
Okay, and what is her name?
Patricia.
Patricia Lynn.
And what does she, where, does she have children?
No, she's not married.
Okay. Where does she live?
She lives here.
Right here.
She's been
Okay.
a school teacher.
Okay.
She's
She's
not
a
teaching
school
now.
teacher.
She's not teaching now, but she has been.
17 years, I think.
Well, let me ask you this then about the Army and all that sort of stuff. I've kind of, if you hear anything,
Now-
come in running in here.
Now I'm going to tell you. We've
Okay.
been married 57 years.
Oh, is that all?
He, the same
You treat your
man,
bride, does he treat you right?
to the same man, and I don't have my medal yet. But it is something that he absolutely blocked out of his mind and never mentioned until a year ago. It'll be 2 years in November when he was saved of church that he ever started saying anything about
About the service?
it was horrible, I guess.
Okay. Well, we'll just let him say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah, well, he don't want me to hear it.
I've got that article was put on the front page of the paper.
Yeah,
I've got that in there on the frame.
I saw that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get that out too.
Yeah, I got that hanging on the wall.
Did you, you went into service in 43.
That's great. January 43.
Did you enlist? Were you drafted?
No,
or-
I was drafted.
Okay. You remember what you were doing when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Oh yeah.
What was going on?
Well, what was going on? I was home by myself, and I just happened to have the radio on, and I heard that Pearl Harbor had been bombed.
Did
I was
that
still
make-
in high school.
Did that make any sense to you, where Pearl Harbor was?
Well,
What-
really, not at the time. Not at the time. You know, I know it was in the Hawaiian Islands, but at the time it didn't have any real importance to me.
Mhm.
And of course, that was in December the 7th, 41, and really, you know, we started talking about everybody started talking about we was going to be in war, and the guy's going to have to be drafted or enlisting and go into service.
Mhm.
So I went on ahead and finished school. I graduated in May of 1942. And then in January of 43, I was drafted in the Army.
After you graduated, though, did you go to work somewhere? Or did
Well,
you...
I was working part-time down at the Elite Lumber Company.
Oh, you worked the Elite
Yeah,
Lumber Company.
yeah, I just working part-time, yeah. I couldn't get a job, but if you was draft age, that was just about out.
Just sort of waiting to be drafted. then,
Right,
really,
right,
is what it
right.
amounted to. wasn't it?
Right.
Now, where did you do your basic training?
Camp Walters, Texas.
Camp Walters?
Yeah, Walters, Texas.
Had you ever been out of the county before then?
No, really, I've never been out of the county.
What were you, about 7, 8?
I was almost, well, see, I graduated in May, I was 19, and the time they got around and drafted me in January, see, I was just a month from my 20th birthday.
Okay. And what'd they do, put you on a train?
Yeah, I went, well, I was notified to be down to the American Legion Hall down on 2nd Street.
Where is that? Is that still there?
No, the American Legion Hall. See, when they brought the college in there and everything, they
Oh.
tore all that down. See,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was located on 2nd Street at that time.
Right.
And a bunch of us were down there, and they called our names out, and we got on a bus and went across the river to the South Shore, and I caught the train and went to Texas, Camp Walters. That's where I took my basic training.
How long did it take you to get there on the train? A couple days? or-
Oh yes, we was on there a couple of days because I remember sleeping on that train going down.
Yeah. And when you got there, what did they do to you?
Well, they just assigned us to our platoons, and that's where we stayed all during the basic training, and that's where we took our basic training.
How long was basic training?
13 weeks.
13 weeks?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I think it's 8 weeks now, or maybe it's 9 weeks now. Well, after that, what they trained you to be? An infantryman?
Oh yeah.
And then did you do anything, any additional training after that?
Well, not till I got to England.
Okay.
Not till when we left down there, we came to Pennsylvania to a camp up there they called a Shenango Replacement Depot. They was bringing soldiers in there from all over the states.
Where was that located?
That was located close to Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Sharon,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah.
Okay.
And stayed there. All I done there was pull KP, pull guard duty, and we wasn't there very long till we left and went to Camp Shanks, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, on your way from Camp Walters, Texas, did you have a leave? Were you able to come
no,
home?
no, I never got to come home till I went overseas, got wounded, come back to the hospital, come back here to the States in the hospital, and I got a 7-day furlough.
So after you left here, after being sworn in, where were you sworn in? Down at the American Legion?
No, Huntington, West Virginia.
In Huntington.
Right.
And you were sworn in. Did you go home then? And you were
Yeah,
told
after we were sworn in, we got a 7-day furlough. I was sworn in on the 18th day of January, 43, and I come home and stayed 7 days, and I left on the 25th.
Okay. And so you never came home again until after, okay, you got
It was,
wounded.
yeah, it was in October. I don't recall the exact date, but it was in October 45.
Did the train go through Ohio on its way to New York? Or I mean Pennsylvania?
Yes. I was trying to think of some of the towns, but it went through the northern part of the state.
Northern. Now all you did up there at Camp, what was it?
Shenango Replacement Depot.
Shenango Replacement Depot.
Right.
And then all you did there was KP and peel potatoes.
guard
and-
duty, march, and that was all we done. We just beaten in time till we got ready to, you know.
By that time, what did you think about being in the Army?
Oh, well, I didn't think, you know, I thought, well, we was in there and we had a job to do, and really at that time, I didn't know what I was going to be in. So
Yeah.
I didn't know whether I was going to end up in the infantry or not.
Okay.
But that's what I ended up in.
Uh-huh.
And I really didn't, you know, I just figured, well, we had a job to do, let's go get on with it.
Pennsylvania to New York.
Right.
Where in New York?
It was a camp by the name of Camp Shanks, New York.
Camp
And
Shanks.
apparently it was close to the docks because we marched from there the night we left there. To get on the Queen Mary, we marched. We didn't ride, so apparently it wasn't too far. We was just there a few days.
Did you get a leave while you were there?
No,
You never got into New
No,
York
didn't
City or?
no, didn't even get to go anywhere.
Where is Camp Walters, Texas? Where is it?
Well, it's close to Weatherford and Waco.
Waco?
Yeah.
Did you get to go into those?
No, we didn't get no leave.
Once
at all.
they got you, they kept you.
That's right. That's correct. That's correct.
But you're seeing a lot of the world. I mean, a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of the country all
Oh
of a
yeah,
sudden.
right.
And I imagine did a lot of the other guys first time ever left?
Yeah,
home?
some of them was, you know, just like me, first time away from home.
So you get to Camp Shanks and you march to
From there
the dock.
down to the docks. We loaded on the Queen Mary,
Mm-hmm.
and we stayed there. I don't know, you know, I don't know how long we stayed there, but we stayed there for a while before we pulled out and sailed for. We landed in Scotland,
Did you?
northern Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
and
How long did it take you to get across?
5 days.
That's not too bad, I don't think, is it?
No, 5 days. And we landed in the Firth of the Clyde in northern Scotland.
Was it crowded?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The boat was loaded.
Did they take any maneuvers for
No.
not just zoom
We
straight?
just went,
That's it. Okay.
just went.
What did you do on ship?
Oh, just really just run around and walked around, and that's about all. We didn't
About it.
do anything else.
Okay. Didn't have anything else to.
Do.
Okay. Wasn't anywhere to go.
Wasn't where to go. Nowhere to go, George.
Well, now you get to the Firth of the Clyde in northern Scotland.
Right,
And you disembark there.
right.
What did they do with you then?
Well, we boarded a train and went to southern England.
All the while here, how was the food?
Well, it wasn't bad. It wasn't
Did it
bad.
vary from one place to another?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Your
yeah.
basic is worse than or better? Or what?
Yeah. But when we got overseas, now the food wasn't any better. It was kind of, you know, very seldom you went back for seconds. I'll tell you, because there wasn't any seconds.
All right. How long did that train ride take you?
I don't know. I really don't know how many hours that was involved here, but when we come to southern uh, England, we landed at, we got in a camp at Litchfield, England, big brick building. We stayed there a few days, and then I left and went to Bodmin. There was a unit of the 29th Division was already over there. I went to Bodmin.
Is that when you learned you were going to be in the 29th?
Right, yeah. And when they sent us from Litchfield, England, to Bodmin, that's where a unit of the 29th Division was stationed. We was there, and I was just there a few days, and I fell out, and me along with some other guys, and we went to the 1st Battalion, 115th Infantry Regiment, which was located, I'd say maybe 10 or 12 miles from Plymouth, England, out in the boondocks.
Okay.
And that's where I stayed, and that was our base camp all the time I was over there.
Now, were you doing training maneuvers while you were there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We would take an amphibious training on the English Channel, and of course training out in the countryside and everything. See.
Were you in the Slapton Sands?
Right.
Stuff?
Right.
You were actually there at that training?
Yeah, we went on those maneuvers. They had moved these little towns back, the population back. They created a salt course there with pillboxes and everything that we would think that we would run onto when we invaded France. Of course, we didn't think about invading France right at that time. We was just talking about we were going somewhere. Oh yeah, they had real pillboxes. We used real ammunition and airplanes flying over and shooting and.
Was the training helpful then?
Oh,
when you hit the
absolutely,
beach?
absolutely. Yes, it sure was. It sure was.
Did you recall or hear when the ships were sunk by the German E-boats, there were a lot of casualties?
You mean the elements of the 4th Infantry League?
Was it the 4th that were? Yeah.
No, we didn't hear about that.
Okay, yeah, they kept it secret.
That's
didn't
right.
they?
See,
Right.
the submarine. Well, from what I've read, these German submarines circled into the English Channel, and of course the British were supposed to be protecting us. See, the only thing I can recall that might have pertained to that, we was on a LST that night, getting ready to make a daylight landing, and it was called off. So after reading all about that, I thought maybe that was the reason. We just didn't hear about it.
Did you manage to go on leave any?
Oh, yeah.
While you were there?
Yeah, I went. I had a furlough, one furlough while I was in England. While I was in camp, I went to London.
Did you?
And I visited number 10 Downing Street, Scotland Yard, the House of Commons. I visited them. St. Paul's Cathedral, Hyde Park, and
To see Big Ben?
I've seen Big Ben and went over the London Bridge. Yeah. That's about all I can recall there.
How long were you in London?
We was there a week.
You stayed in London a week?
Yeah.
With you and your friends?
The Red Cross had a big hotel or a Red Cross club there. That's where we stayed. We'd go there, get our rooms, and we ate there, and that's when we left to go on. And of course, we rode the taxis around to see these different places.
How did the English treat you?
Well, they treated us all right, I thought. But the people was about like us, and they treated us well.
Did you like their food?
Their food? Yeah, because I tell you, the reason I liked it, it was a little different from what was getting at camp. I tell you.
It was more real, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
All right. Well, how long were you at camp? What was the name of the camp again?
You mean in England?
Uh-huh.
Well, we called it Bait Camp.
Bait.
Bake, yeah, it was situated.
Bake.
Yeah, it was situated about. Now I'm just guessing about how far from Plymouth, but I think it was around 10 or 12 miles from Plymouth, England.
Mm-hmm.
Out in the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
We were in these Nissen huts.
Mm-hmm.
The whole 1st Battalion was there.
Say these huts there, they're rounded
You're
tops
right.
and made of
Right.
metal Quonset or something like
Right.
that. Mhm.
That's right. That's right.
That's where you stayed. What was that like then, being in the Army at that time?
Well,
In England with your...
we trained every day. There was something going on every day, and we'd go out in the moors, which was the wasteland out in the rural part of England to train. And we'd go out and stay all day, and sometimes we stayed several days.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather was, in the wintertime, it was miserable. It was cold, damp, but it was just one of those things, I guess. Well, like I say, we trained, and when we wasn't training out in the boondocks, out in the country, we was on the channel taking amphibious training.
You say you were an infantryman, but what kind of weapon did you carry?
M1.
You carried the M1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fired all the other weapons that we had, like the light machine gun and the mortar and the bazooka and the rifle grenade and all that. I could fire all of that.
Or that Browning automatic rifle?
Yeah, or the BAR. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I had that. But when everything come down to what I was going to do, I was a rifleman.
What are, as an infantryman then, what are you equipped with? You have your rifle and a bandolier, or what?
Yeah, well, we carried ammunition all the time we were in England.
Mm-hmm.
We carried ammunition. I carried my M1, and of course I had my bayonet on my pack, and mostly my combat pack, which included my raincoat and my mess kit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my cartridge belt.
How many rounds did you carry?
Well, see, I had 8 clips, so that's 64.
Did you have any grenades?
Oh yeah.
How
When
many?
we went into combat, they give us 4 grenades.
Uh-huh.
I didn't carry any grenades when we were in the training.
Okay.
Just when we went into combat.
Okay. So you have all this training going on. While you're over there, did you you mostly deal with the NCOs, the non-commissioned officers,
Oh, yeah.
the sergeants and guys?
Yeah, right.
Did you ever see an officer?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
They were down there with you,
Oh yeah.
like
Right.
the lieutenants and the
Right.
captains.
Right.
And that sort of thing.
No,
Okay.
See, this outfit I was in was a National Guard outfit from Hagerstown, Maryland.
Yeah.
So they had all their non-coms, and they had now all their officers wasn't from Maryland. Our company commander was,
Mm-hmm.
but the other officers, they weren't, just to my knowledge, from Hagerstown, but our company commander was.
So that was a National Guard outfit, and then they when they filled it out with other people.
Right, with
Yeah.
replacements.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay. How big is a division, the 29th? About
Well, the
10,000?
division is approximately 10,000 men.
Okay.
10,000 men.
And you were in the 115th Regiment.
Right. First Battalion.
How many men in that regiment?
Approximately 1,000.
And in your battalion, you've got about 300.
No, wait a minute. I'll take that. In a regiment, there's approximately 3,000, and in a battalion, there's approximately 1,000.
Okay. Yeah. Did you sense after you're going along here that, and you're getting up to the point of D-Day? Of course, you didn't know what was going to happen, but did you have a sense that something was starting to build?
All right. When we left Bake Camp, and we moved in to Plymouth in this naval camp, then we began to have a sense that we was going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We had had several dry runs during our stay in southern England, but when we left our base camp and we went to this naval camp, then we began to think, well, now we're going somewhere.
What made you think that? You took all your stuff with you, and
We
you
took
knew
all
you
our
weren't.
stuff with
You knew you
And
weren't going back there.
we were given some stuff that we didn't have back at camp, like clothes that was treated to, if they used gas, we would be protected.
Oh. Mhm.
Our underwear, our pants we wore, and stuff like that.
So that would be pretty close to June 6th, June 5th, June
Yeah.
4th.
I think, Gary, you got my book in there?
What book?
That little book you picked up on my regiment. Bring it here, will you, if you ain't a...
Well, you showed me that map where when you landed in Scotland and every city all the way to Plymouth.
Yeah.
He'd probably give Randy the book.
Let's see now. Okay, on
See, I was thinking it was in this one.
let's see here.
Is your name in there?
No, my name's not in here.
Are a lot of people you know in there?
Yeah, a lot of guys that got killed. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to see here the night we left. I had it marked here. See, this is our battalion commander, He
What was
got-
his name?
Richard Bland. He was killed, I think, on the second day. And then we marched here.
Okay, on the night of Sunday, Monday,
Mm-hmm.
May 28th, 29th,
Yeah.
the heavy laden troops were assembled into boat groups
Mm-hmm.
according to prearranged loading tables.
Yeah. We loaded on LCIs. That was
Mhm.
landing craft infantry,
Mhm.
and our boat number. I'm trying to find. I never did know what it was. I seen it on the side. Our boat number. We had 180 men when we got on that LCI. That was our company.
That was a company.
That
What
was
company was it?
Company B,
Company B.
yeah, 1st Battalion.
Okay.
And
You got on it and you stayed there? Did
Yeah.
you stay on that?
yeah, we stayed on that boat till we landed that morning,
What morning?
on the morning of June the 6th.
Okay, now they had to postpone that, right?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. Were you on the boat when it was postponed?
Yeah, it'd come over the PR system,
Mm-hmm.
that it was gonna be postponed,
Mm-hmm.
24 hours. So here we was on LCI 619,
Uh-huh.
180 men from Company B.
All right.
See.
Who's Lieutenant Colonel John Cooper?
He was an
CO?
artillery.
Mhm.
He was an artillery commander. See, he was
Okay.
on our boat. We wasn't really acquainted with him. I never, and that's the first time I'd seen him was on that boat.
Okay. So you got on the evening of the 28th, 29th,
Right,
and you stayed on that boat until you hit France.
right. When we landed on that morning, we didn't land where we didn't land where we were supposed to land because where we were supposed to land, there was so much chaos and everything. They landed us another place where there wasn't as much going on.
Uh-huh.
Really, we didn't have it near as bad as some of the rest of them.
You were in a second wave, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it like being on that boat for 6,
Well,
7?
I'll tell
It was
you.
miserable.
Oh yeah, it was crowded. There was just enough room to walk between the bunks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crowded. I'll
Did
tell
they
you.
have toilets and all
Oh
that?
yeah.
They had to. I bet those are
Yeah,
nasty.
you're right.
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, see, and
Did you get seasick?
no, I didn't.
I bet other guys did they?
Huh?
Did other guys get seasick?
Oh, I've been seasick.
You have been.
Oh yeah, I've been seasick. When I first got over there and first started taking this amphibious training, there were several times I was seasick. But
What's
I
that-
finally got over it. Somewhere or other, I got over it.
What's that like?
Oh, I'll tell you,
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to be that way again. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. And
All right.
it's just a bad feeling. I'll tell you.
Well, there you are, stuck on that LCI for a while, and then it's postponed.
Right.
Is the weather pretty bad?
Well, now the weather was all right while we was on the boat.
Uh-huh.
Sunshine, but it had rained that night. See.
Okay.
And of course, when we got off the boat that morning, it was cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
Cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
and but it had rained after we had left the beach. It had rained some more.
Okay, okay. When you say after you had left the beach, you landed in France?
When we left the beach, the tide was in. When we came in, the tide was in, and of course they told us now everybody may have to be for themselves till we get organized. Well, when I got off the boat, I took off to get up on the bluff.
How deep was the water?
The water?
How deep was the water?
Well,
Did you step off into water?
no, I stepped off on dry land.
So that LCI came right up on the
You
beach?
kept right on up. See, they got them steps on the side of it. You go
I
right
got
down
you.
the step.
Okay.
I remember coming down the left side of the boat. I got off on dry land, and I went. The beach wasn't. See, the tide being in, we didn't have too much beach. I just went on up and got up on the bluff so I could see what was going on.
Okay.
Forward, you know. Forward.
What sector was this? Dog Green or remember?
I really.
It was Omaha, wasn't it?
Oh, Omaha Beach. Yeah, it was
Right.
Omaha Beach.
Mm-hmm.
We had. I really don't know what that was, John. On that.
Okay. Now, but you got down. Were you under fire then?
Oh yeah, they was small arms far. You could hear it, but we didn't see anybody right at that point till we got moving in.
Was there any artillery then?
No, I don't remember any artillery.
Okay. But there was small arm fire. Did you have any casualties right there at the beach?
Now I don't recall of any right at the beach, but you know, a short time later, I began to hear some of the guys that got killed.
Okay.
In fact, the first guy I heard got killed, I think, was the second day. My platoon sergeant
Was that right?
got word back that he had got killed. So.
Okay, I see. So actually, when you landed on the beach, it wasn't as bad as the first wave, was it?
Right, no, because they landed at a different place where there was more opposition. So.
When you landed on that, I mean, you're going in and what are you doing? You're on the boat and you're going in and what are you doing?
I just got ready to do what I was going to do, you know what I mean? I sent my rifle was ready and had it ready and going down prepared to do something, see?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
right at that point, I didn't have to do anything right then, just
Right.
when I hit the beach.
Right. I bet that waiting period is
So the
coming.
waiting period, right. See?
Just waiting is probably worse than actually hitting the beach.
Right, that's right, yeah.
But you go up on the bluff there, and is it high enough then where you can get a view?
We looked right out over the field, see?
Over the
And that's when we
fields.
began to hear, you know, small arms fires.
Mhm.
And we didn't really contact anybody for several hours. Then we began to contact the Germans.
Okay. And then what did that was some small units?
Yeah.
Small unit
Right.
maneuvering and
Right,
things
small
like
arms fire, right.
that. Okay. Did that turn out to be a pretty long day?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it'd never end. I'll tell you. I thought it'd never end. Thought it'd never end. Yeah, it was a long day.
The activity, the military, I mean, the firing and all that must have picked up later then.
Oh, it did. It did. It got worse. Yeah, it got bad. See, we just had to fight from hedgerow to hedgerow. See.
Did you get into that hedgerow stuff?
Oh yeah, we was right in it.
Okay.
We were right in it.
Okay.
We were right into the hedgerow country till we got to St. Lo. Now, I didn't make it to St. Lo. I got hurt before we got to St. Lo. That
Did
was
you get hurt or wounded?
wounded.
Okay. Now, you go to the beach, then how far in are the hedgerows?
Oh,
Pretty much right there, or
oh, well,
100
they're
yards?
close, maybe two or 300 feet. You're right on the
Okay.
hedgerow. Some are going this way, and then some are going this way. See?
That's the way the farmers did that over there. They
Yeah,
kept their
right.
cattle in there.
Right. See, the only opening was where the gate was.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
they had vegetation growing on all that. See,
Mhm.
and provided cover for the Germans. You didn't know. You just about had to get up on them before you seen them.
How'd you get through that stuff?
We just crawled over them. See, a
Mhm.
lot of places where guys had went over 'em and they kind of made a path. And of course, I wore gloves. I just pushed the brush back and went on over 'em. See, of course, you want to look before you go over.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
You don't know what you're getting into.
That's correct.
He did mention one time when he was talking, and he said, when I heard him breathing, I knowed it had to be him instead of me.
Okay.
He said, that was close.
Close one?
He said, that was close.
Who did you hear breathing? A German?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See,
He must have been close.
yeah, well, they were close, I'll tell you. You know, a lot of times,
To reach
you
out
get up
and touch
on
him?
them, you know, they was over there, you know they was over there, you know, and you just had to go get them. See, I just,
If you could hear him breathing, he's probably just as scared
oh,
as you.
yeah, right, get close, yeah, right.
Okay, he's just as scared as anybody.
Mhm, right.
You fought your way through that, didn't you? You fought your way through that.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to fight. We brought up tanks. Later on, we brought up our tanks. Later on, we began to get artillery, and then things began to move. See?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Were they dropping any mortar rounds on you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The night I got hurt was by a mortar round.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was on a patrol. I had 2 guys with me. I went over to contact the other battalion, and on the way back, it was drizzling rain, and of course a mortar shell, you don't hear a mortar shell. It don't make any noise until it goes off. This mortar shell lit over to my right, and apparently it's pretty close. The other 2 boys that was with me jumped over the hedgerow, but I didn't jump. I just hit the ground. And of course I got hit in both legs, in the knee, right knee, in the right hand, and then through the right wrist.
Mm-hmm.
I got hit. So.
All shrapnel wounds
All
from
shrapnel.
the mortar round, huh?
And these 2 guys that I was with, they just happened to be a Jeep about as far from here to the church over in a bunch of woods. We'd been in those woods just a few days before, and they put me on a stretcher and took me back to the field hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, I began to, well, they worked on me in the field hospital to patch me up, sew me up, and I began to start back to England. I didn't know I was coming back to England.
Was this a painful wound?
Oh, yeah, right.
Very
I
painful.
couldn't walk for quite a while on account of my legs, see. It shot
Mhm.
a big piece out of here and out of back here.
Mm-hmm.
And up here it went through my cartilage belt, and of course the worst wound was here in my wrist. It cut the nerve, and it really messed my hand up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when they loaded me on the LST, it was after dark.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded me on that LST to come back to England.
What was the date of your wound?
July the 1st, 1944.
So July 1st, you were there a month.
Right, right.
Now during that month, you were pretty much constantly battling
Oh yeah, right, right.
every day?
Oh yeah, we lost, according to my history on this, we had a lot of casualties during those first few months
Mm-hmm.
when we went in to Normandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the time you were wounded, had you managed to fight your way through the hedgerows?
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
you're
We
up-
wasn't through them yet, but we'd been through a lot of them.
Okay, okay. But it wasn't the end of them.
Oh
yet.
no.
Okay.
No.
So you get hit there, and it was in the daytime?
Oh yeah, it was on the evening.
It was in the evening.
In the evening, yeah.
Okay. How do they? You were there a month fighting and battling. How do they feed you? They bring food up?
Well, they brought sea rations up to us.
That's cold.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the guys learned how to heat them up, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
punch a hole in the top of the can and
Mhm.
heat them up, and sea rations.
Okay.
We never had a warm meal on it. Only if you heat it up in the can, it was, it was fairly warm.
And they kept resupplying you with ammunition.
Right,
and
right.
that
That
sort
was
of thing.
the platoon guide's job to go get our ammunition and keep us supplied with ammunition.
How do you sleep? How do you sleep?
Well, you just sleep whenever you can. Just whenever you can. And of course, you're so daggone hard, but that's not hard to come by. I mean, you can just lay down and go to sleep. At night, you just put your raincoat over you and lay down while other people, see, you always have people on guard. And if you could, if there's 2 men in a foxhole, one of them would be getting some sleep while the other one was guarding.
Mhm.
watching. That's how it went.
I had some people tell me that they could sleep marching. They could march and go and be
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah, that's just the way you done it. You just had to sleep when you could,
Mm-hmm.
lay down and rest when you could, and, but you was continually on guard, you know, moving. Sometimes you'd stop and maybe stop for a day, and maybe sometimes you didn't stop at all. You just kept moving.
And you were dirty.
Dirty. Oh
Is
yeah.
that right?
Right.
There wasn't any shower.
The only thing I done was to keep my teeth brushed. I didn't have to shave, so I didn't have to worry about shaving.
You were smooth skinned there?
It's smooth, yeah.
Your baby face?
Yeah, I just kept my teeth brushed, that's all.
Okay. And so you get hit there, and then it's nighttime and you're headed back to. Did they treat you okay at the field hospital?
Oh yeah. I was on a stretcher there in that field hospital. When I got to that field hospital, I was so dog-tired that I just laid down and went to sleep.
Even though you were wounded.
Even though I was wounded, they had me wrapped up, but bandaged up. I just laid there and just. I don't know what day, but they cleaned my wounds, sewed them up at the field hospital on my legs. But on my wrist, they didn't do anything to my wrist other than bandage it up. They didn't do anything to my wrist till I got back to the States and was stationed out at Camp Atterbury, Indiana, at Wakeman General Hospital, because they had to sew those nerves back together. That's what they done when I was out there.
Did you have permanent damage there?
Oh yeah, I get along all right, but see, my hands all sunk in. It was sunk in worse than that. I still have a piece of shrapnel in my hand. So.
You still do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a piece taken off my knee about 20 years ago.
Oh, is that right?
It's on there. It got to bother me when I crossed my legs. And
Do you have it?
yeah, I got it. I got it. Yeah, that's way like about the size of a number 4 buckshot.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. And yeah, I had to take it off about 20 years ago, maybe a little longer.
And that's your souvenir from
Yeah,
from the
souvenir,
war.
yeah.
But
But this piece is still in there.
that piece plus the one that's still in there. Let's see.
Yeah, see, it's right here. Right here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Now I've been run through these metal detectors
Yeah.
back at the
I was
courthouse.
going to ask you.
Now this, they've never picked it up. I went through this one down here in Saudi County. I had Dean Conklin run me through it to see if it would pick it up, but it won't pick it up. And up at Lawrence County, see, I'm on the Veteran Service Commission, and we've had meetings up at Lawrence County in the courthouse, and of course we got to go through this, and it's never picked it up either.
Have you ever gone to the airport?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you were wounded and you were so tired you just went to sleep.
I was on that stretcher, and I just slept. I don't know how long it was before they got me and tucked me in this tent and cleaned my legs off.
Did you have a field medic work on you too? A field medic? I mean, you were wounded.
Oh yeah, they patched me up. When they took me, when the 2 men grabbed me, when my 2 men grabbed me and helped me to this batch of woods over there were some men over there with a Jeep. And like I say, we had just moved out of that area a few days before. They put me on a stretcher. They done what they could, and they took me to the field hospital. How long I laid there, I really don't know, but when I got there, I was just gone, you know.
Do you remember getting on the boat for England?
I remember getting on the boat. It was late at night. I don't recall what time it was, but it was late at night. Got on an LST. That's one of them that opens up in the front. And there was just enough room down in that hall, down in the bottom of that boat where they, carried these tanks into battle, or carried them into shore. There was so many stretchers down there on that floor. You just had enough room to walk between.
Really?
These corpsmen come around and give you a shot if you need it. Whatever they needed to be done, they give it to you.
That must have been a terrible sight.
Oh yeah,
to see all
I'll
those
tell you,
wounded people.
it was just that whole floor of that boat. Like I say, there was just enough room to walk between the stretchers. And of course, I got back to England, and I don't recall what hospital I was in, but I was in 2 hospitals in England before I got to come home.
How long were you there? When did you come home? When did you?
When did I come home?
When did you hit the United States?
I got home here in the United States, let's see, the first part of October. Now, I don't know what day it was, but the first part of October. We landed in England. I came back. See, I was able to walk by that time. I came back on the Queen Elizabeth, and I got in the Halloran General Hospital on Staten Island. Stayed there a few days and got on a train and come to Wakeman General Hospital out to Camp Atterbury, Indiana. Now, I spent a year out there, in and out.
Is that right?
I'd go out and they'd give me some treatment. They'd let me come home a while. And that's where I was operated on from a wrist.
Did they sew those nerves back together there?
Yeah, they sewed them back together, and it's helped. It's helped.
Okay.
And all the nerves, what it was. And I was discharged on October the 5th, 1945.
What was your rank when you were discharged?
Sergeant.
You were sergeant?
Yeah.
Okay, you'd gone up in rank then, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I hadn't got hurt, I'd have been a little higher than that. Because it turned over. I read, our outfit turned over several times.
Really?
I'll tell you.
Oh, boy.
They was either in, according to my history, they was either in the hospital or in the grave somewhere because so many of them got killed.
Yeah. When did your folks know that you were on your way back home?
Now, really, I don't know. I've been thinking about asking my sister if she's got the telegram where they sent, I have an idea she might have. I really don't know.
What's the telegram say? That you were wounded?
Yeah,
Okay.
wounded seriously in action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wondered what effect that'd have on your folks. Be pretty bad, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know just what state.
Didn't they ever tell you?
You mean my parents?
Did they ever tell you when they got that telegram?
No, they never did tell me. I got to come home. Got back in October, and I got to come home in November. Just a few weeks later, I got to come home. See, I'd call them.
Was that the first time you'd seen them since leaving
Yeah, right,
Portsmouth?
right.
That must have been a nice reunion.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah. Was the family there?
Yeah. Well, my brother wasn't because he was still in the service.
He was in. You had a brother in the service.
Yeah, he was in the Philippines.
Okay. Well, then here you are back and forth in the hospital, on and off, and you'd get to stay. Did you have to go back to Indiana though for the hospital?
Oh yeah. That's where I was.
They didn't have a Chillicothe hospital.
No. I when they sent me out there, that's where I stayed. That's where they operated on me, and that's where they give me physical therapy out there. And when they had anything planned, for me to do, why they let me come home.
Okay.
And I come home on several weekends, got several furloughs while I was out there, and eventually on October the 5th, 1945, I was discharged.
Do you keep in touch with anybody?
No, sir, I don't. I haven't. I haven't contacted any person that I was in the Army with. Now, there's one guy around here that was in the same outfit as I was in, Howard Arthurs.
Howard Arthurs.
Yeah. Now, he was in the 29th Division. Now, I didn't know him when he was in there. I met him down at the bus station one night when I was getting ready to go back to Camp Atterbury. He's out there, too. He's got an article in that book. No, I didn't. And after thinking about it, really, I'm glad I wasn't in with anybody that I knew around here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. If you'd have been in with somebody that you had known, and if they'd have got killed, you'd have had to come back. No doubt they would have rode home, and I'm here with Jack Murphy. He lives so and so. They'd have wanted to know if he got killed, how he got killed. That'd have been kind of a bad thing.
That'd been hard to tell you.
Yeah, right. See, and I'm just glad. Of course, then you think, well, it's good to be with somebody around home, but now really it isn't. I mean, after you get older and get to think about something.
Have you been to Europe?
You mean since?
Uh-huh.
No. See, my grandfather came from France.
Is that right?
Yeah, Charles Peach.
Peach.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
He was from France.
Was he the doctor?
No, he wasn't a doctor.
That's your great grandfather's
That's
a
on
doctor.
my grandmother's side, Murphy's side.
Okay, okay. And was he a Union or Confederate?
No, the doctor was on the Confederate side.
Uh-huh. Who was Peach?
He's on the Union side.
Okay.
He's born out. He's buried out here. You know the Tick Ridge. You go out Tick Ridge Road,
Mm-hmm.
and out there where the Tanglewood Addition is,
Mhm.
there used to be a church there.
Mm.
He went to church there, and he's buried in that church cemetery.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you meet anybody famous? You ever see Eisenhower?
Oh yeah,
Did you?
I've seen Eisenhower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen him one time in England. He was reviewing the troops. That's the time I seen him.
You ever seen anyone else famous? You ever see Patton? You ever
I've
see-
never seen any of the other big generals. Just Eisenhower. I've seen Montgomery.
Did you see Montgomery, the
Oh, yeah.
British guy,
Yeah.
British general? How about Winston Churchill
No, I never seen him.
or Franklin Roosevelt?
No, I never seen any of those people. I'd like to see them, but
Yeah.
but I just wasn't there at the right place. See, especially Churchill. I'd like to see
I'd
that
like to
guy.
have seen him too.
Yeah.
Did you go to any USO shows?
No, sir, I didn't. Never. It's always so far away.
You guys are right up front.
Yeah, well,
You were the front.
You know, I probably would have got to go some had I been in it longer after I got into France. But in England, they had U.S. shows. But, you know, we just far away. I just didn't care about getting on that old truck and going.
This unit, the 29th, it fought its way all the way across France, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. It went all the way from,
Oh, there it is, yeah.
see, right here. It went on up to the Elbe
Elbe
River. See, see it ended up, we started out in the First Army, and we ended up in the Ninth Army, see.
It went through the Hurtgen Forest.
Yeah,
That's your regiment, isn't it?
yeah.
115.
Yeah.
Then they're the ones that went to
Back to Brest, see.
Mhm.
They took Brest. See, I wasn't with them when they took Brest.
Mhm.
See, that was a seaport.
Mhm.
See, here's where we sailed from.
Mhm.
We had people down in this end of the England, down on Land's End, and we had people. We weren't in Plymouth, but we were close to Plymouth. And of course, we had the 116th was stationed at Crown Hill. That was just like going from Portsmouth to New Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they were stationed.
Did you, do you have any pictures from that time?
No.
You didn't take pictures?
They wouldn't allow us to have a Camry.
Oh.
We wasn't allowed to have a camera at all.
Do you have your uniform?
Yeah.
Do you still have your
I
uniform?
can't get in it, but
Up in the attic, isn't it?
Huh?
Is it up in the attic?
yeah,
Got your ribbons on it?
yeah.
Now you sit right there and let me get this.
I don't have all them on it because I didn't know how you know, I had all those till here lately, see. I know they had the Purple Heart because I got that while I was in England. See.
You did?
Yeah.
When'd you get the Bronze Star?
Well, now the Bronze Star, I sent off to get my medals here a couple years ago, and that's when the Bronze Star come.
Okay.
And of course this one right here is the one they give us down there at Tracy Park there about
Yeah.
for the invasion. And of course, my outfit, the 1st Battalion, got the French Croix de Guerre for the D-Day landings.
I see.
And all these rest of them is like a good conduct medal.
Okay.
And expert infantry, I got that in France.
Mhm.
Of course, anybody's been in combat,
Mhm.
they get the combat. And of course, this is a unit citation. Of course, I shot expert with
You were an expert rifleman?
Yeah.
With the M1?
M1, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hold that up there in front of you. Let's see here. I can get in on that a little bit there, Jack. Yeah, there we go. Do you wanna say how you got your Bronze Star?
Well, that comes along. If you get a Purple Heart, they figure that you've performed something of valor, and that's the only reason I can give for that. See,
Did you bring back any souvenirs from France?
no, not a one.
You weren't
I
in
do have one souvenir I got off the Queen Elizabeth.
Yo, what was that?
That's a hanger.
A hanger, coat
Yeah.
hanger?
Yeah, it was screwed to the door. So I took one of my coins I had and screwed the screws out of it and brought it back. That's the only thing I ever took.
Still got it?
Still got it. Yeah.
Of course, you weren't in a position to bring any battlefield
no,
goods,
no.
so you got wounded.
Right. See, when I got wounded, all I brought back was just me. See?
And then shrapnel from the
Right,
mortar wound.
right. See, that's all. See, a lot of guys did bring back guns. I wouldn't have cared to have a couple of guns, but
I'd like to have a couple of those, you know.
pistols.
Yeah, Lugers and Walthers.
Yeah, a lot of guys done that. See.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, like to talk about?
Well, about my. That's about all. That's about all that happened.
That's all that's happened?
Yeah, except what I've done. I've been married 56 years.
Yeah.
When I come back, I got married. I just got a job. That's what was all.
Did you know your wife before you went over?
Yeah, we went to school together. After
Did
that.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
went to school.
Did
together.
you write back and forth?
Oh yeah, we wrote several letters,
Yeah.
and of course wrote home, and they wrote with me and everything.
Do you have your letters?
Oh, she's got some of them up there somewhere. I've got a box up there that's that I bought stationery in. That's got all the guys that was in my platoon at Camp Waters.
Mm-hmm.
They just wrote their name on the box. I still got the box.
Do you?
Got it full of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Jack, thanks a lot. I appreciate that,
Okay.
and thanks for everything you did.
Okay.
Well, I think we did all right. Nope, that's
Yeah.
not it.
If you hear of them ever putting writing another book on these things
Mm-hmm.
like this one, you give me a call or I'll
Okay.
get in touch. I'd like to put an article in there. I
Okay.
just didn't do it the other time,
Uh-huh.
and I want to get this in here.
Okay.
This too.